What's going on, guys? Hagbones here, coach of your Vancouver Kyogres, and we will be bringing you our draft analysis for the PBAL. And as you can see, our first pick, we ended up getting, I'm pretty sure I was 8th overall pick. I'm going on what I drafted. We ended up drafting Latios at number 8, and to be honest, I think the Laddies are probably one of the more prominent Pokemon to go, at least in top 5, because of first of all they're Latios and Latias, and second of all they ended up getting not significant buffs, but enough buffs to make them more of a threat than they were last generation. Um, well, the Laddies, they have a really good they got a really good spread with 80 HP, 90 attack, 80 HP, 130 special attack, 110 special defense, and 110 speed. So that speed tier is really good. It's also probably one of the better or best defoggers in the game. It also got a few. I'm pretty sure it got a few good moves that make it a lot more threatening. It ended up getting Air Slash and Aura Sphere. Now Aura Sphere is it's you're able to now hit steel types a lot better than what it was able to do last generation. You could not come in on a steel type with Latios because, it steel resists dragon and it resists psychic. So now that it has Aura Sphere, it's able to hit those steel types. Air Slash is nothing. It doesn't really do much for it, but this is another move that I end up getting. And it also ended up getting Mystical Fire. So now another way of hitting steel types, and especially stuff like Scizor and Excelgor and stuff like that. So I think Mystical Fire, that's pretty good to have. Other than that, it just does Latios stuff. I don't think it got rid of. It doesn't have Reflect type anymore, and it gets stored power, which I don't think it did last generation. So that's pretty cool too, to be honest. And then being able to defog and set up and roost. It's got good longevity. Same with just like a Thunder Wave and whatnot, Toxics. Pretty sure. I don't think Latios doesn't get Wish, but I know Latias does. So doesn't get Wish. But other than that, Latios is probably one of the better or best Pokemon in Draft League, I think. And so yeah, we ended up drafting Latios first overall, and I think it's a really good pick. And then next on our list of our second pick, we ended up getting Excadrill. And to be honest, Excadrill is another one of those Pokemon that is probably one of the best draft Pokemon in League. And like I said, with Latios getting defogged, one of the best defoggers, Excadrill is one of the best rapid spinners, and it gets a speed boost off of that. So sometimes we don't even have to run Scarf Excadrill because don't have to do that. But also, it's really good at getting Stealth Rocks up, Rapid Spin. Both of its stabs are really strong with Earthquake and Iron Head. And a lot of good stuff you can do. You can Swords Dance up, Sub-Sword. Other than that, yeah, it does extra gel. So, it's got really good abilities with Sand Rush, Sand Force, and Mold Breaker. Mold Breaker is really good. Sand Rush is probably the second best ability, or not first. You just depend on how you're going to run the team. But the stats are really good. You get 110 HP, so it's really thick. 135 attack, 60 defense, 50 special attack, 65 special defense, and 88 speed. So it's got a pretty decent speed. But giving that rapid spin boost and whatnot with the Sand Rush, it's really, really fast, and it's really nice. So that was our second pick. Our third pick, I wanted to finish off our Dragon Steel Fairy Core, and I ended up actually going with Primarina, which I think the three of these together are absolutely amazing together. They cover their weaknesses so well, and hopefully I can make some really good waves with these three. Primarina also really good. With the Liquid Voice ability, we're able to hit Water Hyper Voices, so they'll have to like think twice about trying to sub on me, so that's really cool. Premier is also able to calm mind and whatnot, so we're able to set up. It gets a really good move pool with stuff like Blizzard, Ice Beam, Energy Ball, Hyper Voice. You get Moonblast, Psychics, Shadow Ball, Scald. It's Weather Ball too, so not that I don't think we'd ever would, but if we ever had a Sand Setter, Weather Ball would turn to a Rock type, so we could end up using Rock type stuff with Primarina. So yeah, anyways, there's got that stuff, and this gen it ended up getting Flip Turn. So Flip Turn is really good, I think, with Primarina. You can easily get a really slow turn off or fast, depending on who you're up against. And but yeah, Primarina, really thick, 80 HP, 74 attack, 74 defense, 126 special attack, 116 special defense, and 60 speed. The speed tier is pretty good for how defensively it is. So with that being said, I really think that these three together are extremely well, and I hope that hopefully these three can put in some really good work and have maybe some trouble for our opponents. So yeah, on our next pick, we ended up actually, for our fourth pick, I wanted to get a fast electric type. I actually ended up wanting to get Exurkitry, and we ended up not getting Exurkitry, but I thought the next best option, and it's pretty debatable on which one is actually probably better, but I think they're both good in their own ways, but we ended up hitting up Heliolisk. Heliolisk does really good for stuff that we could probably do farther into the draft, and we'll probably get to that. But Heliolisk is probably one of the better weather electric Pokemon because it gets Dry Skin, Sand Veil, and Solar Power. So the Dry Skin allows us to absorb water attacks, so it's good for our Excadrill. And with 109 speed, it's extremely fast. 109 special attack, hits really hard in the special side, so you can run Spec, can run Scarf, can run Life Orb. All sorts of things. It's got a pretty deep move pool, I would think. Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Focus Blast, Grass Knot, Hyper Voice. It's got Priority and Quick Attack, which I don't really entirely know if we'd ever use it. I guess Dragon Tail, Rock Slide. Actually, it's Surf. And it gets U-Turn and Volt Switch. So U-Turn and Volt Switch, actually, I love having the fact that you can use your U-Turn and Volt Switch. Just because people think that, oh, he's going to Volt Switch out, but we could have U-Turn and there's no immunity to running U-Turn. So half the time we might be just using U-Turn just because it's better safely to get a switch off of. Couple things that like it could do, we could set up an electric terrain, which would be pretty cool. And that's about it for this one. Get Rising Voltage, so I guess like an electric terrain Rising Voltage, that would be pretty cool. Gets Scale Shot. Actually, I did not know that. So Helios gets a Scale Shot, which is pretty good. Hits 2 to 5 times, and it lowers our defense after it's done, but we get a plus one speed after it, so it's kind of like having a Choice Scarf. So that's pretty cool. We get Solar Beam, which is pretty good, especially if we're running in the rain, or in the sun, sorry. Yeah, I think Heliolisk is a really good pickup, and I thought that it fit well with the team. And at tier 3, it's exactly where it needs to be. So now I wanted to patch up a little bit. I know that Excadrill and Heliolisk are weak to ground, and I know that Latios is kind of a check to it a bit. But I wanted to patch up the ground immunity and ended up going with Zarude. No idea what it does, to be honest. I've never used Zarude. I've never once. I looked at it a bit when I was thinking about drafting it. The only downside for Zarude is its ability. Obviously, is booty butt cheeks. You only get Leaf Guard, and honestly, it's only good in the sun. So as you can see with our team, we're not going towards a sun team, obviously. But 600 BST is really good. 105 HP, 120 attack, 105 defense, 70 special attack, 95 special defense, and 105 speed. It's got some really good stats, other than the fact that it's got a really bad ability. and the fact that it doesn't get knockoff. Which honestly, if you see those hands, how do you not knock off with those hands? That's what I don't get. Other than the fact that it doesn't get knockoff and it's got a bad ability, I don't know. I guess he died to a U-turn probably, but I think in time I've never used Zarude, and going 5th in this deep into the draft, I thought why not? It's got good stats. You can run acrobatics. It's a bulk upset, close combat, crunch, and darkest lair are good dark moves. Drain punch. Good nasty plot, which probably won't do. Power whip, which is really good stab, really strong. Rock slide, stomping tantrum, and it gets U-turn, taunt, stuff like that. It gets grassy glide, grassy terrain. I think it's gonna be pretty decent. I mean, it's still gonna be good. I think. Yeah, the mod itself is good. I think. I don't know. After I drafted this, I noticed that we were pretty weak to turn, other than the extra gel. So U-turn was really good on Latios, and it's good on Zarude. And I ended up wanting to draft Golbat. Golbat really does really well against turning teams, I think. Maybe not Volt Switch itself, but U-turn. And I think Golbat is a really good defogger. It doesn't take away toxic spikes. I was going to, as you'll see later, I wanted to grab Wheezing, but I realized that I kind of had I wanted to use Golbat more because it's a good Eviolite user. It's really, really thick. It's a defogger. Brave Bird. I think Flying Stab is really good. So we get dual Wind Beak and Acrobatics, Brave Bird, Air Slash. It's going to be a special set with, it's got Giga Drain and Heat Wave and whatnot. It gets Leech Life, Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb. Super Fang is really good. It's pretty much a really good set with Super Fang Roost, U-turn, Whirlwind. It's got really good stats, really thick for a Golbat. 75 HP, 80 attack, 70 defense, 65 special attack, 75 special defense, and 90 speed, which is a really good speed tier, I think. You add it with an Eviolite, and it becomes a really thick Golbat. So I think it's a really good pickup. And yeah. Our next pick, I wanted to try and get a fire Pokemon. I need something that was going to spin block, and something with really good ability and some good strength. And we ended up picking up Alola Marowak. Alola Marowak is really good, I think. Tier 3. It's got Lightning Rod, and Rock Head for its abilities. Curse Body is alright, but I think Lightning Rod and Rock Head are going to be the most used abilities in this Pokemon. And most of the items are going to be Thick Club, I think. Because Thick Club doubles the attack of Marowak. And that's what makes Marowak so scary. Marowak has a ton of moves like Brick Break, Earthquake, Fire Punch, Flame Charge, Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Iron Head, Low Kick, Outrage, Poltergeist now with the new Gen 8 move, which is really good. Power Up Punch, Rock Slide, it gets Scorching Sands, Seismic Taw, Shadow Bone, Stealth Rock, we can run this thing, throws up rocks, Swords Dance, Thunder Punch, Throat Chop, Will-O-Wisp. Honestly, gets really good moves, got Belly Drum, which I don't think we'd ever use, but you never know. But no, I think Marowak's an extremely good, valuable Pokemon to have, and this is going to help patch up a lot of what we want on our team. Especially we have a good electric immunity now. We have a few electric minis now that's going to protect Golbat and Primarina. Helios kind of, I wouldn't really call it a resist. I don't think it's our best switch-in, but Zarude and Marowak and Excadrill are really good switch-ins to electric type attacks. And so that is... And Marowak's actually got pretty good stats with 60 HP, 80 attack, 110 defense, 50 special attack, 80 special defense, and 45 speed. It's not really fast, but it can become pretty bulky, and it could be a bulky attacker. Next on our list, this is going to be kind of a weird one, but on this turn we end up actually drafting Weezing. But in the end of our draft, we traded for Gigalith because what I was going for at the end of the draft got taken from me. I wasn't originally going to draft Gigalith. I also realized when I drafted Weezing that I already had Golbat, and I'm not really too sure why I had a brain fart there. But then we ended up training for Gigalith in the end. Gigalith is probably one of the best sand setters, and to be fair, I don't know why I didn't draft him in the first place. But Gigalith is extremely, extremely valuable. Good rock setter, gets body press and iron defense, explodes really good, earthquake. Rock blast is a really good move that has, and superpower and toxic. It's sturdy ability, Sandstream, and Sand Force. We're probably going to be using Sandstream most of the time because we have Excadrill. And its stats are pretty good on the defensive side. 85 HP, 135 attack, 130 defense, and 80 special defense. You know, with the Sandstream up, our special defense goes up 1.5, I think. So we become more bulkier on the special side. I think it's the only downfall from it, from Hippowdon, is the fact that it doesn't get recovery. Other than that, and it doesn't phase like Hippowdon does. But this is probably the second best sand setter in the game. So yeah, and there's actually a lot of weather teams in this league right now. I think there's like two sand teams, like 2 water teams. It's crazy. Our next pick, I ended up going with none other than Big Daddy Reggie. I don't know why I would not. This thing got a bit of a buff and got it for tier 5, so I think it's a pretty good grab for tier 5. Regigigas ended up getting Protect. And if you don't know about its ability, Slow Start, on switching, this Pokemon attack and speed are halved for 5 turns. So, that being said, I mean, its stats are absolutely off the charts, but it's like 110 HP, 160 attack, 110 defense, 110 special defense, 100 speed. This thing has 100 speed. If this thing can like sub protect and get like through 5 turns, this thing could be a monster. So like substitute protect and like, I don't even know, power up punch and knock off. Like this thing is actually ridiculous if you did actually have the slow start. If this did not have slow start, we would be talking this thing probably being like OU or probably better. Body press, body slam. It doesn't get return anymore, which kind of sucks. So body slam is probably its best stat move. But it gets Brick Break, Darkest Lariat, Drain Punch, Earthquake, Fire Punch, Hammer Arm, Heat Crash, Heavy Slam, High Horsepower, Ice Punch, Iron Head, Knockoff, Power Up Punch, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Superpower, Thunder Punch, gets Thunder Wave, Toxic, Zen Headbutt. It gets a really good amount of moves, and the only thing that obviously holds it back is its ability. But I think with the way that they gave him Protect, we can stall out some turns to be able to get this thing to be a really good setup. So I think, I think after like a sub protect power up punch set, that'd be like insane. So that's why I picked up Regigigas, and I think that it's going to shine this season. And last but not least on our team, we ended up having to... I was looking to see what I needed on my team. I really wanted to pick up Hitmonchan, Hitmonchan or Machamp, but those were... Hitmonchan was in tier 4, couldn't afford that. Machamp was in tier 3, couldn't afford that. I tried finding a fighting type. And why not get budget Machamp? It almost does the exact same amount of things that Machamp does, except it's probably a bit bulkier with an Eviolite. Still gets I think it still gets like the same amount of moves that it gets. I don't think it gets anything less. It's like Bulk Up, Bullet Punch, Close Combat, Cross Chop, Curse, Earthquake, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Knock Off, Low Kick, Poison Jab, Rock Slide, Seismic Toss, Superpower, Thunder Punch. I think he mostly gets everything that Machamp does. It's just, it's not a Machamp, I guess. Same abilities too. Guts, No Guard, Steadfast. I don't know. I think it's going to be really good. It still has No Guard, so we can still run Dynamic Punch. So yeah, I think with a No Guard and an Eviolite, this thing could be really good. Its stats are pretty good still too. 80 HP, 100 attack, 70 defense, 60 special defense. With an Eviolite, this thing could be a monster. Obviously, for some reason, I forgot to put my logo in this draft analysis, but you'll see it in the thumbnail. I am the Vancouver Kyogres. I ended up making it to semis, I think, last season. So hopefully we can push farther into the season this season. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. This squad looks really good, I think. I was really scared when I had the Weezing, and I'm like, I really need to switch this thing out because another thing with Weezing and Golbat is that Weezing gets Toxic Spikes, it gets Will-O-Wisp. I guess there's a lot of things that like Weezing is good at that Golbat isn't, but that's what makes them so different, I guess, and it's fine. They're good in their ways, so this is the squad. Hopefully we'll see you guys for week 1. Week 1 goes up on, what's today, the 9th? Let me look at my calendar here. Goes up on the 21st, I believe. So week 1 we go up to the 21st. This week my draft analysis will go up. And hopefully we'll see you guys in the weeks to come. Alright. I will see you guys later and see you on the battlefield. Peace.